Everyone, welcome to our web technologies and e-learning podcast. Today we are the top, and today we'll be looking at the topic flipped classroom, content creation, podcast, and how to use social media for educational purposes. I am your host, I'm Confidence, and with me we have. I'm Benny Keston, the base
My name is Jamie Mono.
I'm really a fan of and some accounts. Okay. So the first question that we'll be asking today is what are the uses of what do you think podcast and broadcast is? Does anyone have any?
I would say podcast is an audio-based digital recording which listeners stream online or download, whereas podcast is a combination of the video and audio parts. Yes.
Does anyone have any other ideas? Okay, so how can we use podcast and broadcast for useful learning?
So this podcast and broadcast can be useful in e-learning because with the educational content, learners or friends can rewind video or go back to the content whenever they need to review or reference, which makes learning faster.
Thank you. Any other ideas? Okay, so what is a flipped classroom and how can we the students use it for the educational purposes? Any ideas?
A flipped classroom is when the teacher or the instructor himself talking to learners to go home and research and know more about it before they come back to class for further conclusion.
I would like to ask something. So in the flipped classrooms, students do their research, that broadens their knowledge at home. So when they come to class, they just access it. Unlike there's lecturers or teachers in class just give out knowledge to students. They just go home and do their assignments. So I think flipped classrooms is best for educational purposes.
Okay, it also increases the students' engagement in classrooms and it helps in giving, it frees time for class discussions, questions, and reading work. Okay. Then it helps in learners, it helps learners to know more about what they are coming to learn.
And it also makes students more creative.
And encourage students learning.
Any other ideas? Okay, now that we know what a broadcast, and flipped classrooms are, how can we effectively use all this to create educational content for the students? Any ideas? So I think that with the knowledge we know about the podcast and flipped classroom, to effectively use it as a teacher, I can give my students videos, podcasts or things to listen to, then come to class. And we will all add all our knowledge, which will help us improve our knowledge. So it can ease classroom tension. It can also ease the teacher's workload.
And it also gives a different style of learning. That's what's an encouragement for students to watch.
And basically, it doesn't make the learning too boring. You see certain things and you are encouraged to know more about it.
And as a teacher can also divide the students into groups and give them assignments to do, like make a podcast of this topic, or learnings at school.
It's really interesting. But every student will like to ask me making a video or you stuff.
So what are some podcasting practices? Like when making podcasts, what do you need to do to do it properly? Does anyone have any ideas?
So when making a podcast, you need a good quality camera setup and also Those taking part in the podcast have to have a good audio. Basically, there have to be good visuals and audio in the podcast. Yes, it's a good practice.
Any other way to do it? There should be a sense of what's in the knowledge of what you are going to do here. Like, as what we are to deliver as in making it. Yes.
So, who has any idea how we can use how social media is beneficial to the students' learning? How we can use social media platforms like Twitter and LinkedIn to help in educational content?
So social media also encourages collaborating among students. So let's take it like this. And like outline YouTube. Like YouTube. Like YouTube, TikTok, and the rest. Students can use that online platforms to do their projects grades and other stuff, homeworks and other stuff. And it makes them more engaged in learning. It makes learning to more things. And they get a better understanding of what's being learned.
It keeps the person from feeling tired on what he or she is doing with their YouTube or social media in a way. When you are watching it, you feel okay, like you want to know more about what you're watching and you give a back. When you go to the library and other stuff to look for things to do your work and stuff, like you end up being tired. But with this social media, you can do it at the comfort of your home and other stuff.
Any other ideas?
So basically, from all you've seen, we are trying to say that to use social media effectively for educational reasons, it's to help the children be creative, help them learn in their own pace, and then it will help in long-term memories.
Yes. It means learning is very interesting.
And so, when using the social medias in those things, how do we effectively use it for the students' benefits? Like when I'm a teacher, I'm trying to let my students use YouTube or LinkedIn, Facebook to learn. How can I effectively use it? That they will be able to gather all the understanding I'm trying to give to them without me having to hear traditional teaching.
Teachers can post short form content or educational on social media, which will encourage the students to watch. And he or she can create Zoom meetings to get the interaction between the teacher and the student relation, which will help with the learning, not the traditional way. It's as
Also, teachers can give students assignments to go on social media platforms like YouTube and TikTok to get more information, which is the space for learning.
Also, the teacher can set guidelines, instructions, how when or what the student should do when using that platform. Any other ideas?
So for social media, instead of us like going there to watch TikTok videos on random things, it seems like you can use it for so much more than actual words. That's an discovery. Well, fortunately, we've come to the end of our podcast. We thank you for listening to our podcast today. We are group 12, and we hope that what we have said is very beneficial to you. And we would really love if you could give us feedback on everything. Thank you for listening.
Bye.